Now, Inside Out follows 5 distinct emotions inside 11-year-old Riley's head as she moves to a new city, a new school, and has to in fact start a new life. And the film is certainly incredibly creative, complex, and far heavier than I imagined. Needless to say, while this incredible metaphor for film does tend to lose itself a small bit, it does manage to combine art with an incredible amount of emotion and humor, as Pixar films are known to do. And in doing so, it really manages to feel incredibly relatable. While people might have believed that a film like Boyhood did its best at really chronicling life, I feel like Inside Out does just a far better job. Because what I really liked was that it doesn't necessarily just show you things that you've seen and make you feel things that you felt before, but it delves a step deeper in really understanding the complexity of every emotion. And each of these 5 characters not being solely representative of who they are, rather being far more versatile within their own emotion. For example, the character of Joy isn't 100% joyous, and really showing the various different sides of joy manages to really send an interesting message across. That emotions are not necessarily black and white, and they're far more complex and harder to understand, and the film does a great job of trying to do so. And it takes what feels like a very simple story of a girl moving from one city to the next, and running that parallel with everything going on in her mind, considering the age that she's at, to create an almost intense tale that has a genius sense of pace and flow, incredible bits of humor, and in fact ultimately became a film that really hit home for me. And while younger audiences might enjoy this film for its surface value, it's really other audiences that will appreciate the film for what it is really trying to say, and for of course relating to it in at least one way or another, and really absorbing the incredibly beautiful visual metaphors. However, the trouble I did have while watching this film was trying to determine where that metaphor really ends. Because as the characters travel deeper into Riley's mind, we do get a greater understanding of the functioning of our own mind itself. However, we do have to learn to draw that line wherein we understand what is simply something to progress the plot forward, and where something is actually trying to say a lot more about the way we think. And also, the chain of events that really comes into play seems to be triggered by something random that occurs in her mind, and really makes you wonder what the story is trying to say at times, whether it's more because of the age she's at, or whether it's more because of the events occurring in her own life that really make the actual arc in her life feel a lot smaller than what's going on inside her mind. And while such emotional development is certainly important for the character of Riley, it doesn't necessarily feel like an imperative at the time, and therefore that does lead to a tidbit of a disconnect. However, Inside Out is by far one of the most imaginative films I've ever seen. And through such creativity, it takes you to places far and beyond that in fact always existed in your own head. I'm gonna give Inside Out a double yes.